Standing here in front of you takes me back to another time I stood in front of a group. There I was, surrounded by people in a circle, watching me, witnessing me. I stare into a full-length mirror. To my left stands a woman full of compassion and at the same time directness, the facilitator. "Take off your clothes," she tells me, "and I want you to stand in front of this mirror and really look at yourself." I look down, scanning the clothes I'm wearing. Part of me is silently squirming. Another part of me reminds myself, "Marie, you signed up for this." So I start by pulling down my skirt. My self-consciousness sets in and I hesitate to reveal my biggest flaw, my crooked scoliosis back. She said, "Take off all of them." I think to myself, I just want to get this over with. Trembling, I take a deep breath and start to take off my blouse. I can see the faces of the people around me in the mirror too, but I try to focus on myself. It takes a lot of effort to not to lose my balance as I peel down my panties and step out of them. I feel my body tingling with exposure. "You are a sexual being," the facilitator says. The statement strikes me as unremarkable. "I am a sexual being," I say to the air. "I am a sexual being," I say, looking into my own eyes, finding it hard to connect with the words of this simple statement. Minutes pass as I look at my body, head to toe. I say it out loud again and again. I follow her instructions as I speak my judgments of my back, my hips, my belly. I also mention a few things I love: my breasts, my lips, my legs. I slowly start to feel something soften and expand in the area of my heart. She raises my arms up and out in a free-fall formation. I'm aware of a lightness and spaciousness entering my being as I physically take up more space. No longer hiding, no longer cringing, no longer denying. I am a sexual being. That was 15 years ago. I was a wild animal escaped from her cage. What happened after really took my life to the next level. I went back to my life, back to my cage, not really knowing what to do with that whole experience, but understanding all parts of my body, mind, and spirit were integrating it. 6 months later, I was driving myself to the hospital, freaked out that my muscles had randomly started to twitch. I thought I was dying. Several months later, a brain MRI could not explain any kind of neurological pathology. This led me to conclude that this energetic and nervous system response was some kind of Kundalini activation, which included a huge surge of sexual energy accompanied by a sudden drop in weight and was quite intense for the first 2 years. I was familiar with Kundalini, but this interrupted my life and prioritized it. It set me on a mission to understand this enigmatic phenomenon, which led me to Tantra. In Tantric yoga, Kundalini is considered sacred life force energy, symbolized by a serpent dormant, coiled at the base of the spine. We have zero control over Kundalini. She decides when or if she ever starts to rise. When she does, she can move all the way up the body, clearing blockages along the way, resulting in a spiritual awakening. With me, she did not rise up very far. In the meantime, it's been quite the journey, and I would like to share with you a few insights that I have gained along the way. Life inside the cage. The sad fact is that many people live life from inside their cage and never leave it. One of the biggest reasons for this is that they adapt to it without even realizing they are in one. That was me most of my life. Because of my scoliosis, a curvature of the spine, I had to wear a back brace during my teenage years. It was an ugly, hard, plastic, tight-fitting corset. And I was in it for almost 24 hours a day. That cage held me in and made me different. I was 17 when I could finally get out of that cage forever. But that was only one part of my cage, as it turned out. Our childhood upbringing, our culture, our religion, our trauma and sexual conditioning, these all contribute to our cages. We form deeply embedded neural networks that keep us in a kind of safe space with our patterns and comforts. When I said I am a sexual being and couldn't feel that in my body, that was when I started to realize that I was in a cage that I couldn't yet even really see. Awareness is key. Life outside the cage. Life outside the cage can feel at times like the wild, wild west. Exploration of life, especially our sexuality, is not for the faint of heart. Yes, it can be done slowly, safely, and consensually, but be prepared to get uncomfortable. And things can get really intense. For example, a life-changing Kundalini experience, which was for me a paradox of the dark night of the soul and ecstatic bliss. That being said, the feeling of aliveness, expansion, and even divinity that life force energy ignites in us is something that once experienced sets the bar for life and sex much higher than when our wild animal is confined to our cage. I made many life changes because I had to. For me, it felt like a choice between life and death. I started running. I amped up my orgasms. I made new friends. I even started going out dancing after so many years. Thank God my partner of over 20 years has not given up on me. Yes, there have been some rocky times, and like all relationships, ours is an ongoing work in progress. I love him for his openness, his strength, and his support. My life work has shifted to focus on sexual authenticity, tantra, and somatics, while I continue to expand and push my own edges with different aspects of my own sexual and wild animal nature. I wouldn't and couldn't have it any other way. Finding the keys to escape the cage. The way I see it, part of the hero's journey requires finding our inner keys so our wild animal can escape the cage. For some people, myself included, this is a huge part. It requires seeing our obstacles, our pain, our trauma, including sexual trauma, our upbringing, our beliefs and thoughts, our judgments and negative emotions about ourselves and others, and our shame, sexual shame, body shame, shame of not being good enough or feeling worthy enough, shame of contracting STIs, shame of unwanted pregnancy, shame of not being able to orgasm and faking orgasms, shame of having sexual desires, shame of wanting more for yourself. For me, it was the shame of accepting that I am a sexual being, which includes working through every obstacle, pain, and shame that I have just mentioned. As individual as the hero's journey is, each person will have challenges and life experiences unique to them. Healing exploration can come through therapy, coaching, books and courses, or hands-on work by yourself, your partner, or with a professional. All of these can help to facilitate huge breakthroughs and shifts and ultimately bring you more sexual energy, authenticity, and aliveness, and the keys to the cage. As I wrap up, I would like to ask, are you in a cage? And if you are, do you even want to escape? Be honest with yourself. If your answer is no, there's zero judgment. You have your reasons. Remember that your cage can be a safe place, and even wild animals in nature retreat to safety when needed. If your answer is yes, I will leave you with this. What are you willing to do to release your wild animal? Take a moment right now to pause and tune into yourself, into your belly, your sex, your heart, and then listen carefully.